Hello everybody, this is Kiru's show here. Now then, let us begin. Whenever we last left off, Midnight, she had just learned that she is going to have to go after Inko Midoriya. While at the same time, Overhaul is trying to get into contact with Midoriya, or Deku. So, let us actually pick up with someone else. Let us pick up with Bakugo Katsuki a little while earlier. They had just finished their final exams, and well, he at least passed begrudgingly. But Yue is still on a high alert. All Might is constantly talking with Recovery Girl and people in the support department, trying to get help on his robotic leg and actual talk with Recovery Girl, asking if there would be any way for him to do hero work over his time limits, to which she keeps telling him no. While Power Loader and May, they're a little more on his side. The world needs a symbol of peace, and if he's going to keep doing hero work, then he needs something that can do the job. So, they would somewhat try to build him a suit, or at least something that he can use to help him. Now, this is highly bad, or won't work for him, but it at least is a shot he needs to take. While Bakugo, he's having a bit more trouble. After Ida died, and, well, Kirishima and everyone got overtaken on TV, that was difficult to come to terms with. So, they were actually put in dorms early, and people are talking. Everyone's asking exactly why or what is going on with all this, and that it's crazy. Meanwhile, Bakugo, he's outside, just doing push-ups, sit-ups, and whatever he can to try and work on One For All. Still finding that this is a bit more difficult. Someone will walk outside, let's say... Who's left alive? Yeah, that works. Mina. Mina would walk outside, sit down, and ask Bakugo exactly what's he doing. He would just say that he's working on his quirk. If he doesn't have enough muscle mass or control over it, then it's a bit hard without breaking his arms or legs. Oh, well, that's a bit true, but aren't you only able to put it in one hand? Yeah, one limb. It's annoying though. I'm probably doing this wrong. Well, it's your quirk though. How could you be doing it wrong? I don't know. That's where I'm finding trouble. Now, while that's happening, Sir Nada, he'd be walking up. He would walk up to Bakugo and ask him exactly what is he doing. He would just say that he's talking with his classmate. Well, Sir Nada, he would just tell Bakugo that that is not what he's here for right now. Now, he has information. All Might, he's not gonna like this, but Inko, as Bakugo would immediately look up, saying that she's in the city. Well, yes, but that's not it. We need to find Inko Midoriya. This is going to be difficult, but it shall at least be easy. All Might and Pro's already looking. However, that's not what I'm here for. I'm at least telling you this information in case anything goes sideways. Now, with that being said, as Shonada would immediately look into Bakugo's future, saying that in the next hour he needs to prove himself. What? Well, it seems like you're using that quirk a bit better, so I'm going to leave you with this man. As Sonata would just step aside and you would see Gran Torino. They some of the internships were canceled, but some of them weren't. You had to be specialized in certain agencies, or at least have those agencies be open to taking internships in. Since Gran Torino was not licensed, he could not take anyone on, or even submit a form, especially after the incident with the sports festival. So, Gran Torino, he's just saying that this should have been happening earlier, but he's sorry. Now, listen to me, kid. It's time to work on that quirk. As Gran Torino would begin by taking Bakugo into the forest where there are plenty of trees for him to jump around on, saying that this is going to be a bit more difficult, as he would eventually get Bakugo after a couple minutes of trying to use one for all the right way, him unlocking full cowling. Now, while that's happening, let us cut over to Overhaul. Overhaul, he is having relatively less difficulties trying to contact Deku. However, Deku, he's telling him that this will be a bit different. Hang on. If Overhaul is going to contact Deku, this is where he needs to talk. Overhaul would finally get Deku in the line, and Deku would just say one thing. Yes. Hello? Yes, I do believe this is the living virus, correct? Oh. Is that the name people like to call me? Well, better not waste it. Yes, this is him. Ah, well. You are in a bit of luck. Listen to me. After scrounging through some contacts and whatever I could find, well, that you left, your trail's been a little hard to find. But, as Deck would hear that phrase, you need a little bit of help. Listen to me. I've been researching the Blacklight virus. Now, what I need. Now, listen. What I need from you is a bit of a sample. A sample, you say? Well, yes. I need a sample of your blood, but I also would like to test you to see exactly where you stand. You're a bit of an anomaly. You are not a quirk. You are something worse. You're a living infection that somehow manages to go beyond the boundaries of even humans. Or quirks. It's quite fascinating. I've been studying some of you for the last couple of years, so this is where Deku would just agree with Overhaul. Him and Uraka going over to one specific area. They would meet in a warehouse, as Overhaul would just say that this is going to be their halfway point. They need to be blindfolded from here, which Deku would just agree to. This is where Overhaul would blindfold both of them and take them back to his base, as they would finally arrive. As soon as that happens, Deku, he would have taken off his blindfold, and Overhaul would have told him that this is going to be a bit of a test. As he walks out taking off his jacket, saying that he wants to exactly see where they stand. But this match is going to be a bit simpler. This is going to be a death match, so please do not hold back. As soon as Deku hears that, he starts by doing one thing. Turning on his armor and creating claws, as Overhaul would watch. Deku, he would just say that he doesn't need to hold back. If it's going to be a death match, then it's going to be a death match. Ah, I see. Well, fight like you're going to die. Don't actually try to kill me. Alright then. As Overhaul, he would just take off his gloves and get himself lower to the ground, saying that they will begin now. As Deku immediately rushes forward, Overhaul would have touched the ground and immediately creating spikes, throwing them towards Deku, which Deku finds interesting. As soon as that happens, Deku would have gone to actually dodge it, as he comes in close. Overhaul would have done something else by creating spikes again, but as soon as he does so, Deku, he would have been throwing a punch. As soon as Overhaul, the spike makes contact with Deku's fist, Deku, he would have had his hand slow down, more and more and more, as Overhaul just keeps feeding in the cement. Until Deku, he gets too close. Overhaul taking this opportunity to hold out his hand and immediately throw it towards Deku's arm. As Deku, his entire arm would just explode outwards, as so does most of his torso. As soon as that happens, you see Deku just back away, as he brings his left arm upwards, looking down at the damage. He would just say that that's quite impressive. Huh, not even a scream. Impressive, actually. Not even I have seen that. Well then, let's continue. As Deku would do one thing, regrowing his arm immediately using biomass, and putting it upwards, as a barrel forms. Overhaul is a bit confused as Deku would just fire off a shot. Overhaul seeing this would just bring his hands down, smashing upwards walls. As the bullet goes flying through each one of them, hitting Overhaul in the gut, as Deku comes flying over the walls. Overhaul would see this as Deku comes down with his spikes, immediately just starting to go to stab him down in his legs. Overhaul, he would have destroyed parts of his legs, or he would have destroyed his legs entirely, and recreated them, only to push off of Deku, as he brings his hands out underneath him, as he's still sliding on the ground. As he's doing so, Deku, he would be running forward as a spike starts stabbing into him, or at least trying to. They would have been smashing up into his armor over and over and over again, until his armor does start to crack. Deku would finally get close enough to Overhaul to where Overhaul brings his hands upwards to Deku's face, immediately dismantling him completely, as a red mist covers the entire area. As Overhaul is covered in blood and he's actually panting, saying that that was a bit too much. But he can just bring him back. Now, Overhaul would immediately look over to Uraraka as she looks a bit upset. He would just tell her that this is going to be okay, he can fix this, as she would just walk over. She does form claws in her hands as Overhaul's men are on guard. As soon as she gets up to Overhaul, she walks past him, and goes over to a large puddle. Holding out her hand, she would immediately bring it up, slashing off her other arm. As she does so, it falls into the blood. Overhaul's a bit confused, as he watches the arm melt down, and something pop out, as a claw immediately comes out of the blood and begins to scrape onto the ground. Overhaul being in shock. He's thinking that that can't be possible. As Deku begins to regenerate, all the blood coming back to the arm. Except for the amount that Overhaul is currently covered in. He's a bit too far away. Now, as soon as that happens, Deku, he would have immediately just completely reformed as he would take a deep breath, asking exactly what the fuck just happened. Overhaul would explain that he kinda just had a little test. He dismantled him and he was going to put him back together. But you're my girlfriend. Yes, well, she brought you back. Deku would immediately turn to Uraraka and give her a kiss, saying that that was a bit too much. However, thank you. As Overhaul watches Deku somewhat smile and look a little happy, as he kinda understands him a bit better. He would see that he is considered to be a monster, but he's only a monster to people who look outside, or at least not looking at the bigger picture. Now, As soon as that happens, Overhaul would just say that this should be enough for a blood sample, as he would just go get cleaned up. Deku would just ask questions to some of Overhaul's men, and they would tell him that they're not allowed to give that information. He can ask Overhaul directly, as Overhaul would finally call them in after a couple minutes. After walking through the facility, he sees exactly how large this place actually is, even seeing a room with a chair, finding it a bit confusing. So, this is whenever Deku, he would simply ask Overhaul exactly what is he doing, as Overhaul is sitting in a lab. He's saying that he's going over a bit of things. However, as interesting as your biology is, it's different from what I've been studying. What? Well, you see, whatever version of the virus you contain, yours is a bit more rapid and deadly. What do you mean? Well, as he would just tell Deku that, it's like in there's no good way of putting it. You quite simply have a better version than Elizabeth. I'm not sure why. I'm I'm not sure if it was a partially due to your immune system from being in the red zone, or if it was just being infected. How exactly did you turn into this? I woke up one day and it happened. It may have been one of our food or our rations, so it's not all that surprising. Infected blood can do this. Well, actually, it kinda can't. Huh? You would have to been turned by someone else with the virus. So, either Elizabeth turned you, or there was someone else in that settlement who was infected. Well, I'm not sure. Out of all the survivors, I do vividly remember something. What do you mean? Well, this old man at our camp. He claims to have seen a lot of things, but I don't believe him. So, you think he may have been the one who infected you? Well, not likely, but he may have gone cold, so I'm not sure exactly what could happen. Now, Overhaul would be explaining exactly what the infection is and how it works to Deku, as Deku is in shock. Now, while that's happening, let us cut over to someone else. Let us cut over to Midnight, as she is talking. She has finally gotten out of that tube. However, she is put in a room, somewhat contained. However, she is told that she is not to go outside of mission directives. That they will have a tight leash on her. This is going to be where you're a bit under control. No, they would have put her underneath, and they would have put her underneath for surgery, as they would modify and actually put certain things into her body. They would have put something to at least keep her under control. Something that can shock her, something that can take her out if they need to immediately. Sort of like a bomb in her head. However, it's a lot deadlier than that. This bomb, it's big. It's actually, let's see. I wouldn't put it the size of a baseball, but it's at least half that size. It's. It can release an incendiary explosion, meaning that it can basically turn her blood into mist and her body to ash. It's made specifically to take out every single thing in front of it. It's what they used to use to clean certain parts of the red zone and sweep them from infection a long time ago. However, the tech was considered to be too deadly, so they had to put it in storage until they've been modifying it recently and actually making it smaller. So, as soon as she would have been put out there into the field, or at least back onto her home turf, she would have had a disguise. She would have had to shave her head and put on a wig, as she is also given a bit of facial reconstruction to at least appear as a different person. Now, with that, she appears to be a regular woman. However, she's a bit more. Let's see. The right way of putting it would be she's trying to stay in the shadows a bit more. So she would have been wearing a mask to cover half of her face, while she at least has contact lenses in. These change her eye color from, I believe, purple to at least a brown or a blue, as she's also wearing a white wig. So she'll at least be able to try and blend in a bit more. Now, as that's happening, she's been walking around the city, looking at the last known locations that Inko is at, as she would encounter certain people. They'd be talking to her and actually trying to tell her to hand over everything she's got, but she would have done one thing. She would have gone to form a claw behind her back, as her operator, as you can call it, the person who's in charge of keeping her under control, is telling her to stop. And if she doesn't, he will activate the shock, which she would have done. She would have at least held out her hand as they would have seen a claw, which would immediately send their men running, as she would have been tased. The operator would have said that she's not allowed to show off or let anyone know that there's infected in the city. The pros don't even know about this, so if you draw their attention, you are on your own, or you will immediately be incinerated. So, this is where. This is going to be where I'm going to be leaving off, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.